Unintended side effects? Donald Trump just signed his big, beautiful bill into law, delivering tax cuts for billionaires, slashing Medicaid and food aid, and maybe, just maybe, handing Democrats control of Congress. Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graphs Grievances starts right now. On July 4th, while millions of Americans were barbecuing and watching fireworks, Donald Trump was quietly signing one of the most dangerous domestic policy bills in modern history. The big, beautiful bill, as he calls it, is neither big-hearted, beautiful, nor remotely defensible. It's brutal, backwards, and breathtakingly cynical. It adds over $3.3 trillion to the national debt, strips healthcare coverage from 17 million Americans, and slashes food assistance for more than 5 million American households. It's a betrayal of working-class families, the elderly, the disabled, and anyone who ever believed Trump when he promised not to touch Medicaid. And yet, Trump signed it anyway. This wasn't some sleepy, lopsided vote either. In the Senate, the final tally was 51-50. 3 Republicans, Susan Collins of Maine, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, and Rand Paul of Kentucky, joining every single Democrat in voting against the bill, forcing Vice President J.D. Vance to cast the tie-breaking vote. In the House, Republicans passed it by a razor-thin margin after 2 weeks of bitter internal infighting. Many in the party feared what the bill might do to their re-election chances, and for good reason, because Democrats are already preparing to make this bill the defining issue of the 2026 midterms. And if history is any guide, they are already favored to take back the House. But there's a catch, a big one. Republicans knew that this bill would be unpopular, so they buried the worst of it. They delayed the most painful spending cuts until after the midterms. It's a bait and switch. Tax breaks now, suffering later. And they're hoping voters won't feel the consequences in time to hold them accountable. So let's talk about what's in this bill and why Democrats need to act fast to make sure voters know what's coming. During his campaign, Donald Trump made a simple promise.
Save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without cuts. Have to do it.
We're going to love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We're not going to do anything with that.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that.
Would
no,
you
we're
veto
not,
that?
I would if they were cutting it, but they're not cutting it. We're not cutting Medicaid. We're not cutting Medicare.
And it was all a lie, because this bill, signed on Independence Day no less, is a direct assault on Medicaid. Medicaid provides health insurance to over 70 million Americans, low-income families, elderly nursing home patients, children with disabilities. It's one of the most successful and most popular programs in this country. And Trump just gutted it with the help of Republicans. The law imposes new restrictions, creates burdensome paperwork, and throws up barriers to care. It also ends key Obamacare subsidies, making it harder for middle-class families to afford insurance. According to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, 17 million people are expected to lose their health coverage. 17 million. And still, Trump claims he's just cracking down on waste, fraud, and abuse. Sure. The same cynical logic applies to SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as food stamps. The bill imposes new work requirements and cost-sharing rules on states. The CBO estimates that over 5 million households will lose SNAP benefits. But here's the trick. Those cuts don't take effect until after the 2026 midterms. Republicans knew how unpopular this would be, so they postponed the pain. That's what makes this law not just harmful, but politically sinister. Republicans are going to campaign on tax breaks, hoping voters don't notice what they have already voted to take away. And here's the most frustrating part. This bill didn't have to pass. In the House, the vote was incredibly close. Democrats had a real shot of killing it if they played their cards right. Instead, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries gave a fiery 8-hour and 44-minute floor speech, the longest leadership speech in U.S. history. But as my father and many political observers astutely pointed out, what's the point of grandstanding after the damage is already done? Why not focus on the handful of moderate Republicans, the ones most vulnerable in 2026, and make the case that this bill is political suicide? Democrats lost the House in 2024 by just 5 seats. Today, 13 Democrats represent districts that Trump carried, but only 3 Republicans represent districts that Harris won: Brian Fitzpatrick, Mike Lawler, and Don Bacon. Fitzpatrick voted against the bill. Lawler and Bacon did not. If just those 2 had joined Fitzpatrick and the libertarian Thomas Massie stuck to his anti-spending principles, the bill would have failed. But instead of pressuring those so-called moderates, Democratic leadership focused on speeches to the base. Now they are scrambling to turn the bill into a campaign issue. To be fair, Democrats still have history on their side. The president's party almost always loses seats in the midterms, and Democrats only need a net gain of 3 seats to flip the House. According to the Cook Politico report, there are 18 toss-up races, 10 held by Democrats, 8 by Republicans. 3 of those GOP-held seats are in districts Harris won in 2024. Flipping them, and Democrats retake the gavel. The Senate is more complicated. Only 3 truly competitive seats are forecast. 2 held by Democrats and 1 by Susan Collins of Maine, who voted against the bill and will likely use that vote to defend her seat. Another opportunity for Democrats could emerge in North Carolina, where Republican Senator Thom Tillis is retiring. He also opposed the bill, but if the GOP nominates a Republican from the House who voted yes on the bill, Democrats will have a compelling contrast. Polls consistently show the public hates this legislation. A Washington Post Ipsos poll found Americans oppose it 2-1. Other polls show similar trends. But here's the problem. Most voters don't even know it passed. Roughly 2/3 of Americans say they have heard little or nothing about the now law. And that information vacuum is Republicans' greatest weapon and Democrats' greatest challenge. Republicans are trying to define the narrative with popular-sounding provisions, eliminating taxes on tips, expanding the child tax credit, raising deductions for seniors. But here's the truth. According to the University of Pennsylvania Warden's budget model, the top 10% of earners will receive 80% of this law's benefits. This isn't a middle-class tax cut. It's a massive upward transfer of wealth. So what should Democrats focus on every day between now and the midterms? Medicaid cuts. According to Kaiser Family Foundation, 83% of Americans view Medicaid favorably, and 82% want its funding kept the same or increased. Trump's assault on Medicaid isn't just cruel, it's politically toxic. And the numbers back it up. Trump's approval rating is still hovering at just 43%. And finally, there is the Elon Musk factor. Over the July 4th weekend, Musk announced he's forming a new political organization, the America Party. Why? Because of Trump's big, beautiful bill. Musk, who served in Trump's cabinet overseeing government efficiency and spent hundreds of millions of dollars backing GOP candidates in 2024, now calls the bill a, quote, disgusting abomination. Congress is making America bankrupt. Musk's even vowed to fund primary challenges against Republicans who voted for it. Trump responded by blasting Musk as, quote, off the rails. Whether this new party gets off the ground is unclear, but even a minor third-party split, just a few percentage points in a handful of tight races, could wreck GOP hopes in swing districts, especially if it coincides with high Democratic turnout. This bill is a disaster, economically, morally, and politically. But it's not too late to fight back. The stakes in 2026 couldn't be clearer. Just a handful of races will determine who controls the House and Senate, and whether we can begin to undo the damage. So if you care about Medicaid, food assistance, health coverage, or simply keeping billionaires from running the entire economy, now is the time to get involved. Support candidates in swing districts. Knock on doors. Maybe share this video. Let people know what's really in Trump's big, beautiful bill before it's too late. Thank you for watching Graf's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please consider supporting my channel via the Venmo link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and join me tomorrow for more.